Okay, I think we should go ahead and get started. We got enough people in here, and again, this will be posted later. All of our webinars and AMAs are posted to ocavu.com/insights. So welcome everybody to our AMA number 2, Ocavu AMA number 2. This is about the 15th webinar we've done this year, and we might pick up the frequency of how often we do these. There's so much going on. There's just so much happening with Ocavu that I feel like when we normally do these every 2 weeks. And if we go every 2 weeks, there's so much that happens in those 2 weeks. Number one, I probably even forget a lot of it. It's awesome. But number two, I think there's just a lot going on and people have questions, and we want to make sure that that people get on. So I want people to, those that are joining here, and a lot of you are coming in from Discord and other places. If you have questions, please ask them during this. This is an AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything, right? So please take advantage of the name of this webinar and this event, and feel free to throw those questions in. There's places to rate. There's Q&A you can ask, and then you can obviously ask it in the chat, and hopefully Rob and I can tag team and make sure we can each see what's going on. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Rob Duffin. I feel like I've known Rob forever, but the reality is I dated his sister in college. I haven't seen Rob. I didn't really know Rob back then. Rob, how much older are you than Shelly? 10 years?
Gosh, I should know this off the top of my head. Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 years.
So she was born about 86.
Yeah, so 10 years.
She's about my age. So anyway, perfect. So yeah, we were both in his sister. We were both in the same kind of dorm area at BYU, way back in the day, back in 2004. And so anyway, good times. And and I heard about this guy Rob, who was this awesome older brother, and I don't think I ever met you at that time, but anyway, Rob's here in the area, here in the Silicon Slopes, and we've kind of been in the same circles. And as Ocavu jumped more into Web3 and some of these token launches, Rob said, "Hey, I've got some ideas around what we're doing." And so Rob's a co-founder of a company called Mixtape Social Music. And yeah, Rob, you want to introduce yourself more than what I've said, or maybe I've said it all, but
sure. No, yeah.
Tell us about Mixtape. Tell us about Mixtape. What is it?
Well, first I want to say that the fact that you dated my sister and I still like you, that says a lot about you. So John's a great guy. Yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders of Mixtape Social Music. And a little bit about me, I worked in the music industry for about 11 years in the music production side. I worked with hundreds of artists, ranging from local Utah bands. There's a lot of really good talent in Utah. Really good bands and artists, musicians. And I ran a studio, about 11 years, and worked with some international talent as well. That wasn't quite as common as the local Utah talent, but great little studio, ran for a long time. I closed the studio down because I started getting more involved in running startups in Utah, and I got busier and busier and busier, and the studio just kind of became a hobby. Then it just didn't make sense to run it anymore. But Isaac, who is kind of the original founder, Isaac Ellsworth, the original founder of Mixtape Social Music, he and I have been friends for a long, long time, going all the way back to about junior high. And we've been good friends all over the years.
Back in Hemet, yeah? Hemet, California?
Back in Hemet, California. That's right. We grew up there. He'd kind of been telling me what he was doing with Mixtape, and we started talking, and I saw what he was doing and got really interested and joined Mixtape back in January of this year. And for me, it's a lot of fun because it really kind of, I never thought I'd be going back to the music industry, but I kind of get to take my music industry experience, my relationships with labels and artists and all that fun stuff, and my startup experience, and really kind of, marry the two in a really fun way. So it's been just a blast building this and growing this with Isaac over the past handful of months. And just to give you a little more, I guess, context around what we're doing with Mixtape Social Music, it's an iOS app available in the iOS App Store today. Android's on the horizon. It's all about connection around music. It's social music. So, think think Instagram, but instead of photos and connecting around photos, you're connecting around music playlists. And it's the story about the music, and it's the why the music is important to you. And the app really facilitates that kind of connection. So we won't jump ahead too much now, but that kind of leads into some other fun stuff that we're doing with the community.
So one of the best concerts I've ever been to was actually by Alan Menken. You know who Alan Menken is?
Yes.
Yeah. And it was down at Tuacahn down in St. George. And so if you've ever been there, it's this nice, beautiful amphitheater with
Red Rocks,
incredible red rock background, just like the best place you could ever go watch. Usually they do plays and musicals there, but this was just kind of a one-on-one evening kind of with Alan Menken. It was just him and his piano and a microphone. And he just sat there and told stories about, you know, how he wrote The Little Mermaid, or how he wrote, you know, whatever, every song that he did. I mean, unbelievable. Beauty and the Beast. If you know Disney music, or if you like Disney music, the classic Disney, right? Even today, he's still doing things today, but he is, as I sat there, and like everyone knows every word to every song that he's doing, right? I just kind of thought, and I was like, I wonder how many people in the world know his music. Like, how many people has he affected and created these, you know, magical dreams or worlds that through music, right, that he's been able to unlock for people, obviously with the help of amazing animators at Disney. But man, I mean, is it 1 billion people that know his music? Right. Is it 2 billion? Like, I don't know what it is, but if you look at some of those classics, like The Little Mermaid, for example, or Beauty and the Beast, and you start to take all the different things he's done and put them all together. I mean, Tangled, he did Tangled, you know, more recently. How many people know those songs? Right. And anyway, so music is amazing, extremely powerful. I, as a musician, you as a musician, I'm sure you feel that too, that you can affect so many people, but it takes a whole new level of meaning when you hear them talk about it.
Yes.
Why did I write with this chord? Why did I go from major to minor here? Why did I use this phrase at this place? And this is the crux of the song. This is where all of the focus goes. So I'm really excited to use Mixtape Social a lot more. The app has been out for how long? When did it launch?
Let's see. We launched the public beta in, I think it was February. And then April was the full-blown version.
Got it. And it's been worked on behind the scenes for about a year, at least a year before that, right?
About a year. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so it's been around for a while. We've got a bunch of developers. It's on iOS currently. Android's coming soon, but the app is growing very, very fast, being downloaded at an increasingly fast rate. We're very excited for some of the things that I've heard about in terms of some of the marketing that's going to go into it when it goes to the next phase here. And ultimately, there was a piece missing that we're kind of coming together now to work on and help kind of take it to the next level. And that was helping artists make more money, right?
Yeah.
Helping them take a bigger piece of the pie and not giving it to all of these streaming platforms, and really allowing fans to pay artists directly that they want to support. All right. And there are obviously other services out there, other platforms out there that allow you to support artists in different ways. But this one's special. It's really fun too. And it's done around mixes. And then I know there'll be singles and other things and other features that are coming soon around that. But right now, if you go in there, you can follow Rob. What is it? At Rob? Is that
at Rob? Yep.
That your username in there. And I think I'm at Cheney Piano. And so if you want to follow me, some mixes I'm going to throw in there soon as well. But you can follow each other and you can make this a social experience around mixes. And I think that's really, really cool. So in having conversations with Rob and Isaac about their app and kind of their goals to kind of realign some of what's going on here in the music industry, it made sense to say, hey, what if we had a utility token inside of there that allowed fans to use that currency to then pay and create this economy inside of Mixtape. And here we are. We've just announced it. We've announced officially that the Mixtape token launches on July 12th. And we're going to talk today about some of how to participate in that launch, if that's something you're interested in, and some of the cool kind of mechanics behind how that works. I also want to take this moment to talk about what a utility token really is and what it isn't, right? A utility token is not, it's not an ownership stake in the company. It's not the rights to share in profits. It really doesn't have anything to do with how well the company is doing necessarily, even, right? If Mixtape gets 10 million downloads and is making $1 billion a year in revenue and helping thousands, tens of thousands of artists, make a living, theoretically, the token could be higher in value, but it also might not be. A utility token really is something that steps in to be a means of moving value around, right? But it's all relative value relative to that token and that economy itself. You can create something called a stable coin or a stable token that is like, hey, we're going to peg this to $1, and then it's always going to be worth that. It's always backed by $1, and that's doable. It's definitely doable in the right situation. But many times in these types of situations, a token is going to it's going to grow with more use. Typically, that's what happens, right? The more you use a token, the more it's going to grow. Of course, you'll have some players that come into a market a token and say, hey, I'm going to try to manipulate it a little bit. They're going to buy a bunch, sell a bunch, and dump it, and pump and dump, and all these different things. They're going to try different ways to make money with that token as well. And so if you ever invest in a token, please consult your financial advisor. Please don't put money in that you can't afford to lose. You might make a ton of money and you might lose a ton of money. If you're in crypto today or this week and you've opened up your app, you closed that app really fast and said, I don't want to look at that. And that's okay. You know what? I personally I'm invested in many, many different cryptos, and I have sold a grand total of 0 this week. And I don't plan on it, right? Why? Because me personally, when I see Ethereum at 1,200, I say, holy cow, that is an incredible buying opportunity. I want to get more, which means I want to buy it at 1,200. I think it's worth more than 1,200, so I would buy it today. Therefore, why would you sell it today? If you sell it at a price you're willing to buy it at, then you're just losing money if you bought it higher. But if you believe in it long term, just chill, just hang tight. And if you are being disciplined and investing only money that you can afford to lose, then you won't have to sell at a loss to pay your rent. So anyway, that's my non-financial advice today. And really, I'm just telling you what I do, right? And then you can decide what makes sense for you and your family. So let's talk for a minute about the token. What is the Mixtape token going to do? What's its primary purpose? Like, I know we talked about it's going to be like the thing that is traded around inside of the economy, but what is that really going to do for musicians, for fans? Like, how will it be used? What's the experience going to be like?
Yeah, I love that question. It's what I'm most excited about is the problems that this is going to solve in the music industry. I look around and there are big problems in the industry. The industry, ever since Napster hit the scene 20 years ago, whenever that was, the industry has struggled to adapt and adjust to the digital age. And I loved Napster. I think I can say that now because the statute of limitations has passed. But Napster was a great thing. Having music at your all music at your fingertips was just amazing. And we have that today. We take that for granted with Apple Music and Spotify, and having the entire catalog of music at our fingertips, at our in our headphones is an amazing thing. The problem is the creators are not there. There are so many middlemen that the creators don't. The profits are filtered out by the time it gets to the creators, and it's really just it's the elite few, who really make a lot of money. But there's a long tail of musicians and artists who are very talented and do incredible work, and they work hard and they tour and they play sold out venues. They're smaller venues, they're not arenas, but they've got a loyal fan base and fans that want to support them. But unfortunately, these fans don't have a lot of ways to support them besides, streaming their music, paying for the subscription, going to shows, buying their merch. All that is really great. But we're looking to, what we're doing with the mixtape economy is we're looking to some other tried and true economies that work well, like for example, Cameo and Twitch and YouTube and Patreon. These are great economies that benefit the artist, and there's nothing wrong with those economies. The problem is those are old models, and those are models that work well today, but those aren't going to work great in the future because no one wants 20 to 30 to 60% of the money that gets sent from the fan to the creator. No one wants that to be taken by the middleman. And the mixtape token is going to be used to fuel a creator's economy within mixtape, so that fans and artists have an unobstructed relationship where they can interact with the tools that we provide in the app and in new and exciting ways, things that we're developing, without a middleman taking a huge portion. There's minimal transaction fees that are required. You can never get away from that, but there is no middleman just sticking their hand in the pocket of the musician, taking as much as they can because they're facilitating the transaction. So a couple more details along those lines is, and I don't want to give too many details now because it's still kind of being, we're hard at work developing the economy now, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but there's going to be very fun ways for fans to support artists and to get exclusive content, to give what we call applause. It's kind of tipping great creators, give them a round of applause, give them a standing ovation, depending on how much you want to give. But things like that in the economy that are going to really connect fans and artists in great ways. I see some questions coming in. Should we look at those?
Yeah. So somebody asked here, so is the mixtape token going to act as a utility token, or is the goal for it to act as a stable coin?
Utility token. Yeah, it's going to be, and you might be able to speak more to how the Ocavu team's setting that up, but as far as I understand, it's going to be a utility.
Yeah, it's definitely a utility token. I don't think a stable coin makes sense for this one specifically here. We will have mechanisms inside of, because one of the things that you are, let's say you're an artist and you get 1,000 mixtape tokens, right? And let's say the mixtape token at that moment, for easy math, is worth $2. Okay, so that artist has just received $2,000. That's awesome, right? If they sell those tokens right then, right, they've received $2,000. But if they hold on to it and then the token, there's a crypto crash and it drops to $1, well, they've lost $1,000. Or if it just, it's bull market, it's going up, maybe it goes to $3,000. That will be up to them. But we will have mechanisms where they can immediately cash out, immediately do that. The reality is the goal here will be to help these artists do that while not crashing the price every time an artist wants to back out. And so we're building in mechanisms that we're working with the mixtape token team to continually create, and we'll add more as we discover more, but ways to create upward pressure on the token by burning a little bit of token every single time there's a transaction, things like that, so that we're buying more than we're selling, as a whole, right? If somebody buys those 1,000 tokens and then gives them to an artist and he sells them, that's even, right? But if when those 1,000 are bought, if 10 or 100 or whatever it is, extra ones are bought every single time those purchases are being made, and then only 1,000 are given out, then ultimately there's going to be a heavier weight on the buy side than there is on the sell side. And so that's one mechanism that we're doing. There will also be reasons to hold the mixtape token, right? And in benefits you'll be able to receive and unlock inside of the mixtape app based on, hey, do you have 100 tokens? Do you have 1,000? Do you have 10,000? And you can be part of different clubs, right? And so there's fun things that are being worked on by the mixtape team that will give real utility, not only to the artists, but also to the fans and everybody that's in there, be able to unlock really cool perks and be able to engage with artists in ways that are really exciting. Like one of the things you've talked about, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but you're going to have things that are along the lines of Cameo inside of the app, where artists will you'll be able to go to an artist and say, hey, I'd love to chat, right? And you'll be able to buy that type of an experience with mixtape token and jump on a call right inside the app, or just jump on a Zoom call or whatever it is like this, and just be able to interact with people that that you admire, right? Good musicians in this case, and that's going to be really fun. So so very good question. The next question is, will the gas fees be fairly low similar to Giddy and Ocavu, or will they be more higher like ETH? And then a second question, also, will staking be available for the mixtape token? So I'll answer these, and Rob, you can chime in on the second part here.
Sure.
But yes, absolutely. The mixtape token will be a Polygon-based token. It will be paired with the Ocavu token as the primary liquidity. So what that should do is that should actually provide support and growth for both tokens together. And yes, we want to make it seamless, right? When you're inside of the mixtape app, like if Rob's the musician, I'm like, man, great job, Rob, love the song, and I send him some tokens. There will be no gas associated with that, zero gas. The only time because that will all happen actually off chain. The only time something will happen on chain is when somebody is in or out of the fiat, right? And so that will make it so that there's a 0% fee when you're paying your artist, right? We don't have to take a big fee for that piece, and that will be really fun. 100% of the money can go to the artist. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but you're not launching the mixtape token to generate revenue necessarily for the company, right? Really, it's a means whereby fans can reward artists without a middleman, and you have other ways that there will be monetization inside of the app. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, the token is really to facilitate those transactions between fans and artists. We have other monetization strategies. Our mission is we never want to be the middleman between the fan and the artist. There's enough of that goes on in the world. We are artists ourselves. We sympathize with these musicians and the struggle that they face to connect with their fans and make a living doing it. The struggle is real. And we never want to insert ourselves between them. So we've got to, how are we going to make money though? Because Cameo's model is to be the middleman. We're not going to do that. So we have other monetization strategies that include premium features that we're going to launch. Also, we have very good relationships with great record labels that have been around for a long time that have incredible bands signed to their labels. Very well respected labels. And we're in constant contact with them, developing back-end dashboards so that they have access to the trends and the data. Hey, in Utah, the piano guys are huge. The labels want to know that kind of thing. They want to know who's listening to what the demographics are, and that kind of stuff. Not like we're not selling emails and selling that kind of data, but we're making the trends available for labels so that they can make decisions and sign artists. And it really, because believe it or not, labels today, they're still getting physical like press kits in the mail from bands in this era. So as we're talking to labels, they're really excited about this dashboard that gives them all the data that they want so they can find new talent. So anyway, long story short, yeah, we're not concerned about the monetization side, but we're not going to insert ourselves in the middle to make money off of the token.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I'm so excited as you just talk about that. And by the way, guys, I know the names of some of the labels he's talking about, and I'll let him reveal those if he wants, but they're big. They're the biggest in the world, right? There's really, really awesome names that are going to be involved with this. And it's just the beginning here. This is just I want to talk about for a second. And I think that Mixtape is just such a great launch partner is what I'll call them, right? This is the first token that we are powering with the Ocavu network. And so number one, I'm super grateful to Rob and Isaac for putting their trust in us and in the Ocavu network and in the Ocavu team to make this happen, right? There's a lot of things that can go bad with cryptos, and it's difficult and it's complicated. And there's so many hiccups. And what we're trying to do is make an easier on-ramp. We have some, no disrespect to the Mixtape team, but we have some much larger organizations coming. We'll announce another one in 5 days. So stand by on that. But
and I've heard some.
I'm grateful for Rob and Isaac. You guys are kind of the guinea pigs a little bit, But I mean, we've done it enough, and we have a good enough team that we know kind of what we're doing. We know what the risks are, and we're putting things in place to mitigate those risks. And we'll talk about those in a minute.
Well, yeah, and I just want to say as well, your team has been awesome to work with so far, because we're not crypto experts. We're music industry people, and I've been following Bitcoin and Ethereum since the early days, and I've been interested in this all along. And then seeing how blockchain can solve some of these problems is super exciting to me. But I'm learning so much from you guys. And I love what you guys are doing, because, and I know some of the names that you're talking about, and I'm super excited about what you guys have coming up, which is awesome. But what's super exciting is you guys kind of are able to hold our hands through this process and take people who aren't experts in the field and help them solve problems using blockchain, which is awesome. I love it.
No, I love it. I love it too. Let's answer that question about staking. Are we going to have staking available?
Yes, we are having staking available. And I know you guys are kind of building the back end of that. We're relying on you for the inner workings. So you guys don't, people who are watching this, don't worry. It's not me trying to cobble together some staking site. No, we've got people who know what they're doing, who are building that and doing it the right way. And we're following their lead to make sure it's exactly how it should be to benefit the staking community.
So there will be only two pairs or two ways to earn rewards on that page. If you go to the Ocavu page, or for those of you that have seen it, the Giddy page, there's a long list of ways you can earn those tokens. We really want to, the only reason you would have any other tokens outside of just Ocavu or Ocavu USDC is really just to provide kind of launch type rewards, right? And to allow the broader crypto community to come and back a project and be around and just kind of see what's going on, right? And so that's why that's probably the primary reason why you would just allow a USDC pool or a Ethereum or wrapped Ethereum or wrapped Bitcoin or DAI or any of those different pools. For the mixtape token, because it's a utility token, and the primary purpose of the token isn't to just make money for the company, it's to feed this beast that is going to be enabling real interactions and real financial outcomes for musicians and their fans, right? The vast majority of that needs to go towards the token itself, right? And so holding the token, earning rewards on that, and providing liquidity to the token is why those staking pages exist, right? Is you will reward early adopters who are willing to provide liquidity. Liquidity for this token will be provided through Ocavu, right? Which means we will seed the initial, pool with Ocavu and mixtape token. And then if you want to participate in that liquidity pool, you just buy some Ocavu and you buy some mixtape token and throw them in, couple them together, and we'll provide all the links. And those that know what they're doing, jump in and we're going to continue to do what we can to make these things easier and easier. Heck, I'd love to work with Giddy at some point to potentially put some of our pairs inside of their app that make it just one click. Hey, I can back this project, right? And so I know that Giddy has very strict standards for the types of DeFi pools and projects that they're gonna back, and so we're gonna make sure that we live up to those standards and exceed them even, so that we can all play together. That'll be really fun. But in the meantime, yeah, it'll be a staking page. You'll be able to earn rewards. Do we have the exact numbers of those? Is it 15 or 20%? What is it 20% of the pool?
I can tell you. It's
you put that on there.
Yeah, 20%.
Yeah, so 20%. So minting 1 billion tokens, 20% of those will go towards the pool for 12 months, right? And so what that does, that 12 months, the reason you do it for 12 months or 8 months or 22 months, or lots of tokens pick different timeframes, but really it's to allow the actual utility of the token to kind of really, make its roots and get deep during that first year. And so as soon as the staking rewards disappear, there's enough utility in the token that it now has good solid stability and enough trading volume that other people will say, oh, I still want to be in that LP, just because of the rewards that come from SushiSwap for just providing that liquidity. So there will be ongoing rewards and so many fun things that we do. And then I know that the mixtape token will do to make that happen. Okay. A couple quick questions right here on the side, and then I want to dive into some specifics of how the launch will actually happen. And this will be a little bit more Ocavu focused for a minute, but we'll be using mixtape token as the example. So a couple questions. Will Ocavu and or mixtape attend NFT NYC? Yes, we will have some people at NFT NYC. I don't think I'm going to be able to be there. In fact, I know I might be able to. 99% sure. I have a conference in Toronto that literally is like an hour away by plane. It's not that far from New York City. But I'm speaking and meeting with 10 different investor groups, and I don't know if I can make it. I'm sad that it's at the same time. I really want to be there, but we will have other people from our team at NFT NYC. I don't know if we have a booth. I don't think we did a booth this time. We were going to do an event. We just decided not to on this one. There's so many NFT events, and NFT NYC is a big one. We probably will next year, but anyway. Yeah, just, I mean, talk in Discord, and we'll, there's people that'll be there. We'll make sure that you get connected to them. Next, will my Ocavu that is in the Ocavu mixtape liquidity pool count toward how much Ocavu I hold to qualify for whitelist spots on future token launches? That is a fantastic question that I had not asked myself yet, and we had not discussed as a team. So Doug is asking if this, so you get a whitelist spot to participate in token launches based on how much Ocavu you hold. And then you get a little bit more if you hold it in the Ocavu USDC pool. That's the most valuable place to hold it in relation to whitelist launch spots. I think what we'll do, I'm just going to make this decision right now, is we will say, yes, Ocavu that you have in other liquidity pools will count, but you'll only get the double bonus in the Ocavu USDC pool. Okay. So we'll make sure that we highlight that. And in fact, I'll do that. I'm going to open up an Excel document in a second. We're going to do some scenarios. And then, sorry, I said that there would be 2 pair pools, but I only mentioned the Ocavu mixtape LP. The other pool will actually not be a pair. It will just be mixtape, right? So you have a mixtape pool and then a mixtape Ocavu pool. Those will be the 2 ones that are on their staking page. And then the rest of the magic, get inside the app and start having fun, right? That's one thing I really love about the mixtape token, and that thing is the second it launches, you don't have to sit around and wait for the app to launch or wait for, you can dive right in. Now, the utility of the token will not be installed into the app probably for a few weeks after launch, but it'll be pretty fast. It'll be pretty dang fast. It's being built right now. And so maybe there's 2 parallel paths. There's a token launch and there's an app, and they have to like catch up and cross at some point. Yeah. But we're talking a couple months at most for the whole enchilada to be fully put together and working inside of there. But today, download mixtape, start listening to music. It connects to Apple Music, right? That's how it works. Right, yep. Yeah. So sorry, Android folks. You guys should put Rob, you guys should put a thing on your website. Like, if you're an Android user, indicate your interest by entering your email here, right? And then you guys can at least have a list, but man, there's 10,000 people waiting. We should do this right now, So with product launches, just to see how much of a market is there because it costs a lot of money. It's $100,000 to launch another app on Android. It's not easy. Not a small thing. It's not nothing. And so you got to really make sure that's happening. Yeah. By the way, guys, mixtape is backed financially, right? They've put their own money in, but then they've gone and gotten investors as well. These guys are legit. They're not 2 or 3 guys in a basement. How many employees do you have? How many guys do you have right now?
About 20 or so.
Yeah. So that's
developers. Yeah.
That's not a small question, guys. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, a small number of people, a small number of employees. Right. It's not a small company. So, all right, we've got a question here. Do you have a video on how to stake in the Ocavu USDC pool instead of just the Ocavu pool? I think so. If Carter or somebody is watching, let's make sure we get that posted somewhere. Maybe throw it in the general chat or point out where it can be found. I think there is an Ocavu USDC video, and if there isn't, we'll make one. It's pretty straightforward. If you watch a video, if you've never done it before, it is not straightforward. But this is cool. This is why I love Giddy. I know I talk about Giddy a lot, but I've been doing these webinars for a while, and I talk about Giddy a huge amount, and I've put a lot of money personally into Giddy because I believe that making this process easier is going to be so important. So we would love to integrate with them in the future. So is it a question that says, hey, how is mixtape funded? Have you raised a round? Are you bootstrapped? If you raised in the past, it'd be great if you could share some details. So we just talked about it a little bit, Rob. I don't know if you have any more color you want to add to that and share as much of it as you want.
Sure. Yeah. We raised a round last fall, and from private investors. We haven't gone the VC route. It's just, kind of a not friends and family, but people within our network, who are legitimate investors who've come and seen the vision and shared in our excitement for it and invested money in to help us grow this. So I'm not sure if you want more details than that.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, private investors, and it's growing, and they're getting ready. They're considering. I mean, obviously, this token and the launch and the growth that's happening right now is going to lead them to more soon. So that'll happen.
Yep.
Oh man, I think I need to go get some water. My water's empty. Rob,
Ah,
hold the stage for a minute.
okay. All right. All right, we'll let John go grab some water. Safe Moon, love you guys. I see your comment there. Yeah, I hear great things about Safe Moon. I don't know if I've met the team at Safe Moon, but I'd love to sometime. The token price on launch day. I'm going to let John answer that. I know we've talked about that a little bit, but I don't want to misspeak. So,
I'm back.
Okay, there he is. Okay.
You didn't have to hold the stage for long. You should have just grabbed your guitar in the background and just
started playing. Yeah, no one wants to hear that. No.
So yes, let's go over some very awesome specifics. This is going to be so cool, guys. Let's share a screen, do some math. Hope you guys like math, because we're about to get math heavy in here. And we're going to share my desktop, and we're just gonna go nuts here for a few minutes. Okay. Make sure, I hope this is big enough. I'm going to try to just zoom in a little bit here. We're going to need 30 days. And all right, I didn't do this beforehand because I wanted to do it live with you. Now we've done all the math. I literally have a lot of it on my whiteboard in front of me here, but I want you guys to see behind the scenes of how we're building this. We want a stable launch of a token. A perfect token launch would just go like this. Just nice like this. Steady growth that theoretically follows the growth of the use of the token. If the token's being used more, it's going to go up. If it's being used less, it might go down some, right? That's the reality. And so then it is up to the company or the community to say, hey, how are we using the token? Are we providing real value to the community? Is it being used properly? And we really think through these things, guys, before we even say yes to someone like Rob, right? It wasn't the first meeting and we're like, oh yeah, let's do this, right? We're like, hey, let's keep talking and let's explore it. And before we did that, Rob and Isaac came to our office here and we sat in a whiteboard room for 2 hours, 3 hours. Well, actually, no, I was there for 2 hours. You guys went for another 2 hours after that, I swear. Yeah. And it just like, does this make sense? Yeah. And so we only want to work with companies, guys, that have real vision, real funding, real teams, real community that can drive a token. I have another person that reached out to me today and they want to launch a token for their community, but their community is very early. It's hundreds of people only. And it's cool. I really like the guy and he's got a big LinkedIn following. I think there's cool things that could be done with it. But should we, right? Like, is there enough value in there to create a $10 million economy or $100 million economy around that utility? And the reality is, I think we can actually launch tokens without doing them on the blockchain, which means we can keep it off chain, but still allow people to trade and in tokens and just keep them like pure utility and no financial float value long term. And then at some point, if the community gains enough traction, we can always throw it on chain at any time. So anyway, I just wanted to say that sometimes we might have people come to us to say, hey, help us build a token. And we'll say, great, but we don't think you should put $100,000 or $150,000 or whatever to seed liquidity and put it out on the open market for it to trade, because your economy just isn't big enough, right? So anyway, we're not experts. We don't know everything, but we're doing our best to really design systems that can allow for a stable launch and allow for this utility token to do its job. So one of the biggest problems with launches is the starting price typically is fractions of a penny, right? And when you're buying something for fractions of a penny, someone can come in with $5,000 and buy millions of tokens, or $20,000 and buy many millions of tokens, right? It's a good way to create instability, right? We saw this happen with the Giddy launch a little bit. We saw this happen to a greater extent with the Ocavu launch, because we have, I think what happened was the Giddy launch had a little bit slower and then it went really high. It just like, it started kind of smooth and it's like, this is the smoothest, best launch ever. And then all of a sudden it went really high and then dropped and then really high. And now it's pretty low. So it's been like all over the place. So how do we create just good, steady stability, at least in the early days? We can't really affect that long term. The thing that affects it long term is the token a good token, aka is the utility of the token really valuable, right? Or is it just a token here to have a token, right? But if it really does things that US dollars couldn't quite do in the same way, hey, then there's real utility that that token is able to do. And so that's exciting. So the starting price, there's going to be, so total mints, 1 billion tokens, right? 1 billion mixtape tokens, okay? Starting price will be 0.0025. We're gonna add some decimals here so we can see that. Sorry, wrong way. All right. And we're gonna make that up there. Okay, and just because I'm OCD, if I'm capitalizing, we'll do it all. All right, total mint starting price. Super easy. Now, if we let people in and say, all right, you can buy, you know, just, hey, let's just seed it on Sushi Swap and the first $10,000 order comes through, then, you know, they're gonna go this divided by this, and all of a sudden, boom, they've got 4 million tokens. And that's horrible. We don't want 4 million tokens being bought by somebody right away. What happens, and what happened with Ocavu, is we had a bunch of people get a lot of tokens, not a bunch, we had a few people, 2 or 3 people get 5 or 6 million tokens, 4 million tokens, 2 million tokens, right? And they then let the price go up and then they dump them. And so you see this huge gain and then it drops really fast. And then now it's kind of, if you look at the daily chart on Ocavu, it's actually incredibly stable because those initial early buys, those huge millions of token buys have sold out, right? And so that's fantastic. So how do we have a more fair launch, right? And I don't know if fair is the right word. Really, fair is a free economy, which means we're not doing anything to control it. And so what we want to say is we want to say it's more of a distributed launch that will make the outcomes more fair. That's really what we think. And so we're doing that through 3 phases of launch. One is called the whitelist launch. The second is called the flat launch. We're going to call flat public launch. And then Sushi Swap seed. Okay. So the whitelist launch, in order to participate in this, will be, well, let me talk for a second here. If we start the price, and we've done all the math and looked all this, and it's really just a math equation. But if you start at 0.25 cents, and you want to get to a value of 1 cent, you need $75,000, right? So in order for this to go from 0.0025 to 0.01, and again, we'll add these so that we can see very clearly. To get it from this price to this price, it's going to take $75,000. Now, the average of these two together, right? This is easy math. So we'll just call this, we'll call this average, say starting and average equals this plus this. And we'll put those in parentheses because of PEMDAS. We'll divide it by 2. Okay. This, sorry, there we go. And we actually need to add one more here because it's going to be this. So the average of these 2 prices, the starting and end point, is 0.00625. So if you are going to participate in the whitelist launch, you will be able, if you get to participate in the whitelist launch, you'll be able to buy the token at this price. Okay. Each whitelist spot will be worth 500. You'll be able to eat whitelist, whitelist spot. I don't know if value is the right word, but you're going to get $500 of allocation here. Okay, so number of whitelist spots equals 75,000 divided by 500, 150. Okay, so I'm going to look at the chat for a second here and see if there's any questions here. All right, I don't see any questions. If you have questions, guys, please bring them up. If I lose anybody, if you don't understand it, but basically what I'm saying here is we want the first 150 people that purchase this token to basically all get the same amount for the same dollar value. You'll be able to do up to $500. There's a question here. Asta said, how did you get to $75,000? It's just the math. If we were to put the token on Sushi Swap, seed it, and then just let the market, drive it up to 1 cent, it would take $75,000 of purchases for it to move the price from 0.0025 up to 1 cent. So that means it might be bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold, but a positive buying pressure of $75,000 will take it from 0.25 cents to 1 cent. Okay, so that's what that is. So David just said, so each 500 will be able to get to 80,000 tokens. That is exactly right. So $500, the way he did that, right? So number of tokens per whitelist spot is, we're going to do a little formatting here. Okay, this will equal $500 divided by the average price. Boom, 80,000 tokens. Okay, we'll throw a little comma in there. So 80,000 mixtape tokens per whitelist spot. And we are going to allow up to 3 whitelist spots. Okay, each person will be allowed up to 3 whitelist spots in any launch that we ever do, right? And I'm going to say any launch we ever do. We might actually change that per launch, but let me talk about how that works, how the whitelist launch works. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do this right now or if I want to do the flat public launch next. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about how this works, and then we'll finish up with how the math works. How do you qualify for a whitelist spot? So the next phase that we wanted to do is 1 cent to 2 cents. Okay, and it turns out that the math is you need another positive $75,000 of buying pressure to go from 1 cent to 2 cents. So that's a total of $150,000 that we'll get in, and the average, I think we can do this all together. What's the average of 1 and 2? 1.5, right? So we can do that, and let's make sure we get enough decimals here to account for this, okay? We will also allow for $500 purchases in the public launch, and there will be 150 spots. Now, these spots will actually be determined. I'll talk through that in a second here. So if we take the same math that's in this cell here, so the second part of the launch, the flat public launch, you're still getting in at an incredible price, 1.5 cents. It's still incredible. You're going to get 33,000 tokens for $500. Both of these launches, the whitelist and the flat public launch, you'll be able to purchase using a debit or credit card with a 5% transaction fee. Okay, so if you want to buy $500, it would cost you $525, which will increase your average buying price by just a tiny, tiny bit. In fact, let's do the math, right? If you're buying it for $525, this divided by this. There you go. So instead of buying it for 0.625, you're buying it for 0.656. So it's still, again, very, very, very close. But anyway, there's a slight increase there, right? Because we have to pay for that credit card transaction fee, and we're going to help do our magic on the Ocavu token behind the scenes to make this possible. So you can buy with a credit card, okay? Credit, debit card, or Ocavu. So you will be able to connect your MetaMask to the site, to the whitelist launch site, and use your existing Ocavu to buy that. And you'll get a 5% discount, or you'll get this price if you purchase it with a straight Ocavu. There will be no fee other than a Polygon fee to pay for that. Actually, that's not even true. There won't even be a Polygon fee. There might be. I don't actually know how that works. No, actually, there will be. There will be a Polygon fee. Sorry, I was just thinking through that, and my developers will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there will be a tiny just gas fee for that. Okay. So method of purchase. Same thing here, copy, paste. Now, the way that this will work, the Ocavu network, one of the really cool things about the Ocavu network is, and this is actually a good question, the Ocavu price will go down after buying with it. I will address that in a minute. The reality is yes and no, depending on how it happens exactly. But the way the Ocavu network works is based on the contents of your Ocavu network wallet. You can do all kinds of fun, different things with it. For example, let's just open up Google Chrome here. We'll open up a new incognito. We'll go to ocavu.live, where we have the wallet installed. So here it's showing the Ocavu price and different things that are happening here. You can see the Ocavu announcements, but you don't see any of the discussion thread down here. That is because that is gated behind being inside the Ocavu wallet. So if I were to log in here, now all of a sudden I'm going to see a bunch of comments down here and other things. So we can actually gate content based on whether you're logged in to the Ocavu wallet or not, the contents of your Ocavu wallet. So maybe we say, hey, you have to have 1,000 Ocavu to even see some section of the website, or you have to have an NFT in your wallet in order to access some part of a website or to access something. We're going to be using that feature a huge amount. Gating access to content in different areas in the site is a primary feature of the Ocavu wallet. So what that means is, in order to participate in the whitelist launch, you will need an NFT, a whitelist NFT, right? Qualification, whitelist NFT. Okay, that's how you get in to this. The flat public launch, you actually need, it is public, but it's actually logged into Ocavu network, is what I actually should say. The Ocavu network, if you're logged into the Ocavu network, you will be able to, why is there a space there? I don't understand that formatting. Why is it pushing it out there? Anyway, format, paste. Ha, there we go. My OCD working again. It's gotta match. So if you're logged into the Ocavu network, then you'll be able to see the flat public launch. Now this will happen, by the way. I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna go insert one here. We're gonna just say date. This will be July 12, July 13, July 14, okay? And then this will launch. We will seed the sushi swap pool at 2 cents and $1 billion. No, I don't know, right? Whatever it ends up being, okay? And we'll put that on the side, okay? And who knows how much this is going to be, and average doesn't apply anymore at this point, and none of these things, they're all NA, right? And method of purchase, this will be only crypto, right? Ocavu will be the only way to buy once it gets into SushiSwap. Now, SushiSwap allows you to buy with USDC or Matic. Heck, you can use Giddy to buy Mixtape token. But SushiSwap, what it does is it will channel that. It'll say, okay, I need to buy Giddy, and then I'm going to switch it to USDC, and then USDC to Ocavu, and then Ocavu to this, right? It'll route it for you. And it's a slightly higher fee, but it allows you to do that. But ultimately, Ocavu will be the thing buying the Mixtape token, right? And so, yes, let's answer the question. Will the Ocavu price go down when you swap it for Mixtape token? Yes, 100%. It will absolutely go down. But theoretically, the way that this works is you buy Ocavu, and then you buy the amount of Ocavu you want to use for Mixtape token, and you sell it. So that should actually be a wash. It should have no impact on the price because it's just a pass through, right? But if you buy Ocavu and then you buy Mixtape token, some of it goes into Mixtape token, then both should stay higher if you're putting those in the liquidity pool, if you're pairing them together to put it in the liquidity pool. We also have a lot of mechanisms on the Mixtape token side to drive that price upwards. And the Ocavu network, every single time one of these credit or debit card transactions happens, it drives the price of Ocavu up permanently, right? Meaning there's more buy pressure than sell pressure based on how we have it, because we are burning Ocavu every single time that happens, okay? So overall, Ocavu will rise a lot leading up to the token. There will probably be a little bit of a dip on the token day, at least in relation to the Mixtape token, and then it will steadily climb again, right? The problem is, the thing that makes this really complicated is, what if we have multiple staggered token launches, which we do. We're going to be announcing another one, like I said, in 5 days. And so because of that, there's going to be this constant cycle there. All the cycles will be working with each other. And you're going to have eventually millions of dollars a day of transactions happening of this nature, credit and debit card, that are driving the price of Ocavu up and driving massive volume of that. And so those that are inside of the LP that are in that Ocavu USDC pool will benefit from huge amounts of transactions happening between Ocavu and USDC every single time that happens. Okay. So this is fun. This is fun math. All right. We're at 2:56. We're going to go just a few more minutes. And we have a board meeting in 4 minutes, but they can wait because I'm the chairman of the board. So they have to wait for me. They usually don't, actually. I have no power here. But anyway, let's talk about the whitelist launch. How do we qualify for the whitelist launch? That is the thing that everybody wants to understand. So I want to talk about this now. Whitelist launch. Okay, we've talked about this a little bit. We've talked, there was kind of an announcement in Discord and a description of kind of how that works. We're going to put together a PDF, kind of one pager, and we're going to throw it on the ocavu.live site. There will be a link to it. So it'll be very clear how we will calculate whitelist spots. But basically, we are going to look at something called a monthly, we're going to look at a daily average from start to finish, whatever that is, right? So it might be a month. We might do some launches that are a 10-day average. We might do some launches that are a 3-month average or whatever, right? Depends on the brand, how big it is, how stable, whatever. There's a lot of things that go into it, right? For example, if we take a community that is 20, 30 million people that want to deal with this, right? With the mixtape, we're dealing in the tens of thousands of people, probably, maybe hundreds of thousands, you know, eventually, that are dealing with this, and then eventually millions. But at the moment, it's in the tens of thousands. When you get to a community that has millions of people, these numbers, $75,000 isn't going to be enough, right? We're probably going to need to let in $1.5 million in the launch. It's just in the launch instead of 150,000. So everything will be different. There will be a start and an end. Now the start, let's talk about this. So let's say, actually, we're going to use mixtape token exactly. So we announced on June 12th. All right, that's the start. You know what we're going to do? We're going to just say start June 12th. And then we're going to say finish. And then, let's see here. If we go June 13 here, and then we just drag this down all the way to July. 8, 9, 10, 11. That's going to be through the 11th. Okay. So we are going to look at your daily Ocavu balance. Okay. And we've built cool systems that will allow us to query the blockchain. And all we're going to see is you know, addresses, right? So we're not even going to know who it is. It's completely, you know, we just have no idea who it is. And so we're going to, at a random time every day, it might be at 2 a.m., it might be at 2 p.m., it might be whatever. We're actually going to pick a random block during every day, and we're going to do this looking back. So we're not going to do it every day. We're going to wait until, you know, the 11th, and then our system will say, all right, go back and pick a random time every day for balances. It'll be the same time for everybody, right? But let's say your daily balance of Ocavu on June 12th was 10,000, right? And then on the 13th, it's still 10,000. And then you're like, oh, it went up and you sold, you went to 0. And then, oh, there's a lot of sell. Oh, man, that's a good buy time. I'm going to come back in. Oh, I'm going to buy a little bit more. And your balance went up, and oh, I'm going to buy a little bit more. And now you have 15,000. And then you're like, oh, it went up and I dropped down to 7,500, 7,400. Let me do that. 7,500, right? And you just keep doing this all the way through the whole month. And sorry, 0, 3,000, 30,000, big buy. You got a big paycheck and you decided to put it all into Ocavu and whatever. Then you sold some because you drove the price up and everyone else did. And then you sold a little bit of it. And then you're 25,000. Anyway, so we're going to go through the month, and you bought a bunch more, and then you sold a bunch more. So you can do this. You can jump up and down, or you can just hold, right? You can do whatever you want, right? Let's just say you then even out and you're like, all right, I'm just going to chill here for the launch, right? And you know what? Maybe I'm going to go to 25,000 and chill there for the rest of the time. Okay. So this is your daily balance every single time. And again, it's at a random time. So if you try to just put money in at 2 p.m. every day and then take it out at 3 and move it elsewhere and then just throw it in every day, you won't be able to do that. There's no bot, no way to game the system, no way to do that. But we're then going to take the average, your daily average of the start to finish, right? And so we're just going to do an average of these numbers. That's it. That's exactly what I want. All right. So your average for this was 17,850 Ocavu. Okay. Now, the way that what we've said is you get one whitelist spot. And I need to add one other thing here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say daily Ocavu USDC balance. And I'm going to ruin this chart a little bit. It doesn't look as pretty up here, but that's okay. And we're going to center these and bold them. And if we're bolding all of these, then we got to be even throughout this. So let's say your daily Ocavu USDC balance. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let's say you put in 10,000. Now, you know what I'm going to do this in the equivalent of, I'm doing the equivalent of Ocavu. That'll work. So let's say you have 10,000 in here. And then technically you also would have the equivalent of that in the USDC balance as well, right? And so let's say daily Ocavu USDC balance. We're just going to make this two things here. So this actually needs to be here. This needs to be here. And sorry, here we go. Let's get this looking right. Okay, so this is actually making it prettier. So let's say you have this, and then your equivalent is whatever that is in USDC, right? And so we're just going to say that it's the same. And then so that we can make our math really fast, we're going to go like this. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry. What I want to do is cancel, and I want to delete this, and I want this to equal this, and then I want to drop down. Okay. And then we'll copy and paste. So we have two averages that are the exact same. And then your Ocavu balance, we'll just do the same thing here. Because it's got to be equal. And I know this is the $10,000 equivalent, right? Yeah, of Ocavu, okay? So then we'll just drag this down, and the USDC balance doesn't actually matter. So that you have that much in USDC in this balance. Now, in order to qualify, every whitelist spot, each, let's see, you get one whitelist spot per 8,888. There's our 8 showing up again. Ocavu held in your balance. Okay. You also get one whitelist spot per 2,222 Ocavu held in, and sorry, I'm saying this wrong, held in liquidity pool. Right, in the USDC, we'll just be very clear over here so that when we see this, it makes sense. And this is actually held in Ocavu staking pool. So it's got to be in the staking pool. So on Ocavu.live, right? That's where you will see this stuff, right? You'll see the Ocavu pool and you'll see the Ocavu USDC pool. And you can see that this is actually a 2-to-1 bonus for being in here, because if you have 2,222 Ocavu in the liquidity pool, you also have the equivalent of that dollar amount in USDC. So that really is representative of 4,444 in Ocavu value. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So hold it in those pools. Okay, then for every 800 or 8,888 in this balance, from your daily average, you will get one whitelist spot chance. Okay, and then 2,222 over here is one whitelist spot chance. So how many spot chances will you get? And I should say one whitelist spot. I need to make that very clear. We're just going to call it a chance. It's not you're not guaranteed to participate in the whitelist, right? But the more Ocavu you hold, the more opportunity you have. And by the way, let's say we only have 75 people that qualify for this. Well, then everybody will get to participate, and everybody might get 2. Right? Everybody might get 2 spots in this whitelist launch, right? So that's fun. So now let's look at this. If we go, I'm going to move this camera thing again here. If we go equals this divided by 8888. So this person had an average of 2.01. So they get 2 whitelist spot chances. That's it. That's the math. Okay. And then on here, equals this divided by 2222. They get 8 whitelists spot chances. Pretty cool. So this person gets this plus this. They basically get 10 spots thrown into the pool. And if there are 1,000 in the pool, then they have a 1% chance of, or I'm sorry, they have a chance at getting 1% of those, right? But basically that's what that means. They have 10 chances. We're going to have a random generator that will just say, all right, here are all the addresses that get it. And then what we'll do is we'll automatically send a maximum of 3 NFTs. So even if they won 10 randomly, right, we're going to max it at 3. You're only going to get 3 spots in this. So the max number of whitelist tokens you could purchase is 240,000. Okay. Then, so that's that. I hope there are some questions, or maybe there aren't any questions, and I did a really good job at explaining it. It's kind of difficult. There's a lot of little math there, but The cool thing is we have a system that we've built in smart contracts that will automatically calculate all of this for us. And they will randomly choose times and randomly choose numbers. Not only that, I believe we're going to set it up so that we do the whitelist kind of drawing live on a webinar. So everyone can watch and see if their, address shows up, if their MetaMask address shows up. Then the second part, the flat public launch, this one's going to be pretty simple. All you have to do is show up to the staking page, and the next day at 10 a.m. or whatever time we tell you it's going to be at, you'll be able to come in and you'll be able to buy in $500 increments this amount. And then the only way to do that is to log into the Ocavu network, which means you have to use your phone number and 2FA. And you can only have, so if you have multiple phone numbers, yeah, theoretically you can game the system. Maybe you can get a few spots in the flat public launch. But probably no more than, your husband, your wife, and maybe if your kid's got one, great. You've got a couple phone numbers that you can jump in there and do that. And we can't stop you, right? But ultimately everyone will only be allowed one spot. And then as soon as that's done, then the next day we will seed Sushi Swap at 2 cents. So what we will have done is created the exact same outcome as if we had seeded on Sushi Swap at this price and $150,000 came in. But instead of 2 people getting it all or 4 people getting it all, 300 people. And maybe there's some duplicates there, right? Maybe some people participate in the whitelist and the flat, and maybe some of them had used their wife's thing and whatever. So there's going to be a little bit of that, right? But the reality is it's going to change it from 3 or 4 people to at least 100 or 150 people, and maybe even more than that. And future launches will happen in a similar way. We'll have a start date and then a finish date, and you guys will know those dates. You'll be able to plan and say, all right, I'm going to hold my balance here. And the reality is on the 19th right here, right, we're going to start the next one, right? And it's going to be awesome, right? We're going to start the next one and it's going to go until July 19th or whatever date it is. And that's going to launch the next one. Then maybe right here, we start another one, right? And it just keeps going down. And so there's going to be these overlapping things. And then our system will check, all right, what did you qualify for? And you will receive an NFT into your Ocavu wallet, your Ocavu network wallet, right? That will allow you to get into the whitelist launch because that website will be gated by that content. You'll log into the Ocavu network. And I should actually say this, you're going to have to be logged in and holding. So logged into Ocavu network and holding the whitelist NFT. We got to get a space there and we're good, right? This is just logged into the Ocavu network and this is public, and that's going to happen on, on Sushi Swap, public on Sushi Swap. And this is the day, by the way, 14th, July 14 is staking page. We'll launch that at the same time that we seed the Sushi Swap. Okay. All right. I only went 10 minutes over. That's pretty good. Rob, does that make sense? Did everything I say make sense at all?
I'm totally lost. No, just joking. No, that was awesome. Yeah, super clear explanation. And as we've been talking, you've kind of, I've kind of had a high level understanding of how this is going to work, but seeing you break it down this way has been really helpful for me. And I hope it's helpful for a lot of others as well.
Yeah, I hope this was helpful. This is really cool. We're going to try to make this so much easier for you guys to understand. I literally had my team. I was going to do this explanation to them yesterday and last week and say, hey, let's make a PDF, but I wanted them to just sit in, everyone listen, learn, and we're going to now make a document, and we are programming the smart contracts to do all of this automatically. But to say it simply, the average balance that you hold of Ocavu over a month or over the launch period will determine whether or not you get a whitelist spot chance. Yeah, and then we'll have a random drawing. We'll have a random generator do that. And it'll be a great time. So really exciting, guys.
Super exciting.
So last question here. David McCoy said, where will the credit debit card transactions take place? Will we be buying an NFT that represents the MTT, or will we be buying MTT directly with these cards? You will be buying MTT. Yeah, that MTT will go into your wallet. It will go into your Ocavu wallet. By the way, the Ocavu network very soon, guys, will be able to hold your Ocavu. It'll be able to hold every token supported by Ocavu, like Mixtape token and future ones. It will hold USDC, it will hold Matic, it will hold these different things. And so our wallet will be a fully functioning Polygon wallet. You'll be able to hold NFTs, send them to your MetaMask, send them wherever you want, do whatever you want. When they're inside of the Ocavu network, they will have more capabilities. When they're in the Ocavu wallet, NFTs will, unlock web pages and different things like that, right? So there will be reasons to have it there, and maybe sometime you want to go, throw it in your MetaMask and sell it through OpenSea or something like that. You'll be able to do all of that. It'll be a fully functioning wallet that you can take advantage of if you want. But ultimately, good question, Cameron, on how does the MetaMask work with the Ocavu wallet? It doesn't. They're two different wallets, but they both support Polygon. One has you have an Ocavu wallet address, and then there's a MetaMask wallet address, and you'll be able to send between the two in the same way that you can send between crypto.com and your MetaMask, or Coinbase and your MetaMask, or one MetaMask and another MetaMask, or whatever, right? So it'll work. It'll just function the same way that happens. But ultimately, David, those credit debit card transactions, you'll show up, you'll purchase it, and then we'll set aside the value into your Ocavu wallet, and then we will unlock it. You won't be able to send it until the seed, right? So it'll just be sitting there, and then we'll unlock the sending capability of that as soon as July 14th hits, and you'll be able to rock and roll. So yeah, you will not have to be able to buy Matic in the wallet. If you are purchasing using your Ocavu or a debit card inside of the Ocavu network, you will not have to pay gas fees. Yeah, if you're using a credit card, there will be a 5% transaction fee. Obviously, part of those transaction fees are, covering gas fees that we're covering for you. You just won't have to worry about it. It'll be an easier experience. This is part of the Ocavu network's value, right? When we're selling an NFT to somebody at a jazz game or something like that, we don't want them to have gas in their wallet, right? We want them to just buy it. And, there's a transaction fee, 5%, great, done, right? No big deal. Right. So we'll cover that. We want to just make it extremely easy. We'll do the hard stuff behind the scenes. So, all right, guys, we're going to stop it there. By the way, David, you just asked this question. This is huge. You've tried to buy with Chase in the past. You will be able to buy from us because we're doing this with a partnership with Stripe, and Stripe accepts every credit card type. It will be just like buying a digital good on a website. It'll be super easy. We're going to have it all set up. You should be able to buy with any card you want. And obviously, if you want, you can buy with Ocavu. That's great. No transaction fee or anything like that. But if you want to use your Chase card or your American Express, like you can't use American Express on anything, right? You can't use it on on any website, on any crypto.com or whatever. You always have to use debit cards. You're going to be able to use a credit card to buy this. Now, that is not my endorsement of saying go into debt to buy Mixtape token or Ocavu token. Please don't do that. Don't go into debt to do this. But we are making it so that you can purchase how you want and even earn American Express points if that's what you do. I don't go into debt with my American Express. I do my very best not to, but I do it. I'm a Delta Amex guy because I like to fly to Hawaii for free every year. So, okay, Jason, last question. How do you set up an Ocavu wallet? Super easy. I will show you right now. We just barely had this thing over here. If you have never set one up before, go to ocavu.live. And again, you're missing a lot of things on ocavu.live if you're not logged in. But if you do, you come in here and you just throw your phone number in, right? I'll throw, I don't want to throw my phone number in. I guess it's right there. But anyway, I'll throw my phone number in right here. I'll click next and then auth code. I'm going to get an auth code to my phone here, and I'm going to put that number in, and this code is randomly generated, so it doesn't even matter if you see the number. I'm going to click submit, and now I'm logged in. And now if I scroll down here on Ocavu.live, hey, it just came to life. There's a whole discussion happening here and people sharing cool gifts and all that good fun stuff. There's lots of cool things and more things that will come to Ocavu.live in the near future, but this is your wallet. Yeah, that's how you do it. It's very easy. If it's your first time logging in, put in your phone number and then an email address. And if you attended any events like Cryptopia or anything like that, use the same use the same email address that you use for Cryptopia. If that happens to be you. But either way, that's it. That's how you get into the Ocavu wallet. It's super easy. It is a custodial wallet, which means we are taking care of it for you. You can't lose your seed phrase. We will add the functionality in the future to take custody of it. So it will be a combo custodial, non-custodial wallet. You can choose to let us take care of it, or you can choose to control your own seed phrase and pull that out and be able to use that however you want. But ultimately, guys, this is really exciting. This is super fun. Really looking forward to sharing more things with you. We're going to make it easier and simpler. We're going to get better at talking about some of these new things. We're working with so many big things. It's going to be so fun to tell you about. And we can't just, come out and say things when we want to, even though I like to do that. We have to work with companies and great people like Rob, who have their own businesses, their own plans, and we want to respect those plans and their launch plans. And if they want to reveal they're working with a major studio or something like that, we want them to do it on their terms, on their socials, on their whatever. And then, we'll just be there to cheer them on. So thank you, Rob, for joining. It was awesome.
Thank you, John. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you.